From a product point of view, our mission to end the trend of poor health, of which chronic disease is definitely a big contributor, and of course to end the trend of poverty. It's still our main focus. Clearly, it's still yours, judging by your achievements. And I think I think you've seen just in the recent past that our SAB is definitely committed to that and to support this cause. And I think Drew is going to put some slides on for me if he's available, because we're going to just talk a little bit about just some of we talk about flattening the curve. We've heard that so many times before, but if ever there was a curve to be flattened, it's this chronic disease. And you've seen this before, but I mean, 1 death every 8 seconds, I think tops it all. And that, in Africa, we are leading the charge here, and not in a positive way. So this is something we really, really have to work with. But if we look at the next slide, we'll actually see that we've introduced a product that has made a huge impact. And this really is a thumbs up really to our scientific advisory board, because this is something that is actually, if you look at that slide and it says combining ancient wisdom and modern science, it's amazing that we've gone back to what always was, what information was available, and actually highlights the fact that we've gone so off track in our modern world, and we've had to now have science unravel all that, whatever existed in terms of wisdom that was, sound and good eating habits, unravel it and put us back on track. And that's pretty much what our scientists have done now in the 21st century. So we've combined that ancient wisdom, knowledge that was intuitive, that we instinctively used. We've lost it along the way, and now we've put it back together in the sort of products NEOLIFE is putting out there. So, our studies out there, of course, we always challenge our products, and we know that those, as I say, some of those foods that have been around for centuries, and we've learned a lot more about them. And we realize that, in fact, the ingredients that we've put into this product have certainly improved our natural biochemistry when it comes to influencing our blood sugar control. But the interesting thing is that we anticipated that there would be other benefits, and you'll start to see those other benefits actually in some of these testimonials. So a very important thing is, people telling their stories is really what's more impactful than what I can tell you about you. So in fact, let's have a look at some of these stories about what people are saying. And I simply highlighted just the pertinent things, that someone was a pre-diabetic, they found that it increased the energy. These were things that we anticipated, but in fact have come to light. People have actually experienced this. So just look at the highlights: increasing energy levels, blood glucose doesn't seesaw anymore, don't get shaky, help me avoid sugary foods, help me take control of what I eat and make healthier choices. And I've lost weight. This is what Margaret's got to say. This is what we expected from the product. And you'll see from the research that we're going to put out and publish that it's far beyond just, regulating blood sugar levels. There's many, many other aspects that we've come out with these products: appetite control, hunger, people are more focused, your sugar levels are balanced, your memory's better, your recall of information is better, your positivity is better. So let's just go through some of these slides rather quickly and just have a look at some of these things. Here's somebody else who's insulin resistant. That's sort of kind of stepping up to diabetes, but not quite there yet. But a family history of diabetes, that's a red flag. They realized they needed to lose weight. After just a month, things started to change, not craving things so much, dropped whole belt size, and of course, definitely less fat around the middle, which is always a good thing because it's not a good place to have fat, but it's a place that fat sticks around somehow. And after those excellent results, she managed to get her mum on the product. So this information that we know, this is how our story sort of spreads. We have to tell people, but we don't sell product, we actually sell results. And I think these results speak for themselves. And we're so excited, as I'm sure you are, with this kind of information, because it's just confirming what our scientific advisory board already know. Here's someone who's a type 2 diabetic, and they were treating this with diet and medication, which is a standard procedure. The blood glucose levels, though, weren't as steady as they should have been. And within just 2 weeks, blood glucose levels started to settle. 7 millimoles per liter is a very good reading. We would want to be about somewhere between 4 and 7 if we pricked our finger and we took a reading. And that's what you see in those little graphs that we put out in our information. So this is an excellent result, and in a very short space of time. Doesn't mean that we stop looking at our diet or our medication, but we're getting good results. And then for the Rush family, husband and wife, she was finding that, she was amazed at the fact that when she took the product, it controlled her appetite. She wasn't craving things so much. And she could get from, breakfast to lunch without nibbling. And as I said, the cravings were well under control. And then the husband, a type 2 diabetic, you can see from his readings there, is that went from 19, which is really very high, down to 9, which is still a little elevated, but it's an enormous jump in the right direction. And he's lost weight. Now that losing of weight is going to have benefits it's going to snowball from there. It's going to have a positive effect as he goes along. So these are very exciting, very, very exciting. So let's get to the next one. Now here's someone who's obviously a type 1 diabetic, 30 years of diabetes, which is a huge challenge to the body. The kidneys start to take some strain, which we can see here. But he found that in fact, when he took the product, only for a couple of months, it's helping him to balance his sugar levels and reducing the amount of insulin that he takes. So can you see we still stay on the medications, we still stay doing what we were doing, but we start to manage it differently because there is a change. And that change will vary from person to person. But I want to reiterate and reinforce that it's important to keep tabs on the changes that are happening, because it will affect the amount of insulin that you take. And look at this, his cholesterol and blood pressure also had a response, and that's something we also anticipated, in fact have found in our research, which we're going to publish shortly. So things are starting to normalize for him, even though he's had diabetes for such a long time. So he's really delighted, things are working for him. Another type 1 diabetic, Cecile, who's obviously very intelligent about her condition. She's managing it with good food choices and of course, good products. So she's keeping it at the absolute minimum in terms of her insulin, but she has to take daily insulin. And there she says, I felt a drastic change after taking the recommended dose for just the first time. It's helped me reduce my long-term insulin by 3 units and my short-term insulin as well. So there it is. She's playing with her insulin, but she's observing it correctly. And the product is helping her body respond positively. So it's amazing what you can see when we talked about focus and memory and hunger and overweight and blood fats. One condition that we call diabetes, when you see what one chronic condition can do and the ripple or negative ripple effect it has on all other aspects of our health, as I say, our memory, our blood lipids, our attitude, our hunger, all those things are affected by one condition. So it's very important that we actually give a diversity of products as well as the main one for diabetes. And so I just want to go to the next slide and remind you of the fact that, yes, this is an amazing product, but let's not keep using a variety of the NEOLIFE products that we've already been using and people have been using, because in fact, together, all of these things make a difference. So glycemic control is controlling what we eat, how our food actually behaves. And we've tested and performed, our shakes in fact have been designed to have a glycemic control influence. In other words, not rush the glucose into the bloodstream. So don't stop taking the shakes, even though botanical balance might be doing a good job for you. Fiber is one of the things that's also helping the control of our sugar levels. So whether it be fiber tablets, whether it be our new all-natural fiber, these should be in the mix along with our botanical balance. And of course, from some of the research that we've done, and I think some of the training that we've done for you, I think you've actually seen that something like diabetes almost highlights our cellular nutrition in action. It's all about cell membranes, glucose and insulin interacting with each other, meeting each other on the cell membrane and getting into the cell. So we have to make sure that our cell membranes are in good condition. So threonine, omega-3 salmon oil plus, they need to be part of the mix. And of course, antioxidants are absolutely crucial for diabetics. We all need antioxidants, but in fact, diabetics need this even more than the average person. So I just reminded you the ones that we have: carotenoid complex, flavonoid complex, vitamin C, vitamin E, chelated zinc, all have powerful benefits as antioxidants. But yes, we have to also observe people's budgets. And if they can't always have individual products like that in that concentration, BetaGuard, even though you might have it in your mind for some other applications, just look at the ingredients in BetaGuard. There's a representation of carotenoids, there's vitamin C, there's vitamin E, there's zinc, there's selenium. We put them together, that's a very great little package that is an antioxidant benefit for someone with diabetes who's actually taking botanical balance and some of the other products. So let's not Let's help people get it together so that every aspect of their health is managed well. So let's forget to keep using the other products. And then, of course, as Drew said, we had a chat the other evening with many of you, that we've introduced this really exciting little promotion. It might look little, but in fact, their ramifications are huge, and we're actually highlighting children's health and their preparedness for their immunity and their achievement at school. What a fun little booklet. I think it's very cute, and I hope you've enjoyed reading it so far, and I hope you're starting to read it to your kids or enabling them to read it. So we want to get your kids on track, and I think this is really just a conversation opener. It's an opportunity to start talking about food, actually, and sharing ideas rather than telling our kids what they should do, because let's face it, as soon as you tell people what to do, they tend to resist. So this way we can actually share information and get them eventually to educate other kids. So as soon as they get back to school, it's going to be an opportunity to do that. But I still think anyway, in the home, it's still a conversation starter. And I think probably quite a good idea, is to actually have some of those products as you're chatting about them in the little booklet. Have some NEOLIFE bar, have some omega-3 capsules. Both of you have a little bit of a test on, the adults and the kids, have some NutriShake together. Show them your products that you're taking, and so that they can, have their little stash and you have yours. And I think that way we'll get a lot more buy-in, within the family. And I think also keeping them on track obviously is important. And I think these little wellness trackers are actually very comprehensive and quite a lot of fun. And we can be quite competitive, and we've even challenged them to, if they get all their stars, that you actually incentivize them in some way. And just remember that when you, in your little pack, you get 2 of them. So one you can get to work with straight away. But in fact, you can make copies with the other one. But remember, there's also on your back office. So you can actually download them whenever you need them and share them around and never run out of them. So make use of this, because I think it'll also teach kids. It'll get them to remember the names of the products. And before you know, they'll be asking you for the products rather than you telling them to take them. So I think it's pretty exciting. And so let's just have a look at some of those packs just quickly. We'll have a look and just remind ourselves. So our immunity booster, there you'll see all your items that you get. There's a little booklet, you get a little brochure, you get the blender. Those are all for free. And of course you get 2 trackers. And the Vita Squares and the NutriShake, as we discussed in our training, those are considered to be basics. They can double up as breakfasts. They're important nutrients for kids to grow. But what I want to show you is that we haven't just added another little product in just to make a hamper. We want to build a layer on top of that basic. So right now in particular, immunity is a huge issue for all of us, and it's a big issue for our kids as well. So things like zinc, vitamin C, selenium, it's necessary for them to have that in their diets as well. So that's exactly what we've layered on top. VitaGuard is actually introducing additional zinc, additional vitamin C, some of the carotenoid components, and the fruit and vegetable extracts, flavonoids and carotenoids. So this is a very important and powerful layer that we're going to add on, which is why we've made it part of our pack. And if we look at the brain booster, there again, the basics, Vita Squares and NutriShake, are going to cover a huge spectrum of what growing children need. But we know that fish, for example, and when I share that information with you, right around the world, in fact, people don't eat enough. Certainly in South Africa, we don't fare very well at all, adults as well as kids. And so this is a huge and important dietary gap, because we cannot manufacture these oils. And if we don't get them from our food, we simply don't get them. And they have a broad variety of benefits, as many of you know. But certainly they've been proven in terms of kids to help with memory, learning, reading, their vocabulary, and also behavior. And even in their impulsive behavior. So it really has a very powerful effect on not only their scholastic achievement, but also on their ability to socialize and to mix with others. And that's extremely important for their well-being socially. So that's why that's been put in there. So very important. But what we've done is, if you think about it, I talked about highlighting their health preparedness for immunity and their preparedness for school. So we thought, well, let's put the whole lot together. So this ultimate booster really does the job completely. And in fact, we've added a really important extra, because, as we said, omega-3 is very, very important. This particular product has many, many features, as you know, and we did that in our training. And so we added this additional one, and we've actually given it to you, free of charge. So you're actually getting an immune booster and a brain booster and all the extra trimmings, and you're getting a free omega-3 to add to that, because this is very important also for the immune system. It's important for those cell membranes. That immune system of ours in our human body has to be agile, it has to be fit, it needs that nutritiate to give it energy. It's like an army. It needs to mobilize. And these omega-3 fatty acids are going to get to those cell membranes, send out the signals, make sure that those immune cells can move around. So actually, this ultimate booster is really what I think we all know we need for our immune system right at this time. And of course, as I say, for our brain health and scholastic achievement, but also when we put the whole lot together, it's an excellent package. And so, yeah, fantastic and exciting this year. I know there's been a challenge for the school year, but our kids are going to perform well. So yeah, let's help them reach their full potential. But you know what I think is also important is when you looked at that slide on diabetes, and I talked about flattening the curve. Well, you know what, that 143% increase over the next 25 years, let's think about these youngsters here. In 25 years' time, some of them are going to be hitting 30, some of them maybe even 40. They are going to be part of that statistic. So in fact, it's extremely important that we actually make sure that our children are being well nourished in general, not just for now, for the COVID time and for just this year at school, but in fact for the future. Because we have to look after this generation, teach them how to work with their food, make sure that their bodies are well nourished, so that they are not part of that 143%. And in fact, that they can put a lid on it and not have such a huge spike. Right, so that's what we're doing right now for January, but there's more exciting things happening just next month. So Drew actually alluded to it, and yes, we have a new product that we are launching. So we've been very busy, as Marco said. I'm not going to tell you the name of the product so that you will keep you bated breath, but yes, of course, it has all the NEOLIFE differences you would expect. In fact, unique in the marketplace, as you would expect. And in fact, everybody needs it. But every cell in our body needs it. So it means that everybody that you know should be looking out and listening to what we have to say in February. I think Drew has put a date to it already. It's going to have a benefit for, I don't want to give up too much information, but certainly for energy. And that's going to be a very, very powerful, important thing inside the cell. Good for our muscles, good for our bones, good for our teeth, good for our brains, good for our mood. So it's good for everything. So as I say, everybody needs it and every cell needs it. So tune in just in a few short weeks and we've got some exciting product to share with you again. And then, in keeping again with our support systems, and I think with helping you to do, the job that you like doing, making a difference in other people's lives, I think NEOLIFE University has been a fantastic introduction, and I sincerely hope that you've all had a chance to have a look at the different modules and hopefully completed them. And I think you can agree that you've learned a lot and you've actually becoming, what's great, a lot of people have asked about where they can go and learn about nutrition. And I think here you're actually getting it from the horse's mouth. You've got some of our scientific advisory board members talking to you. You've got members of our Global Science Network talking to you, specifically about what is happening in science in these particular areas, and then of course relating product to it. So it really is giving us a double effect, because we know what to do with the product and we understand the background. The most recent one, I hope you're aware of it, is now digestive health. We've actually introduced that, so that's a 3-part module, and there's more to come. We're actually working right now on another aspect, which this I enjoy, because this is actually just education. We've now got a module that's coming up on macronutrients. So that'll be on protein. We're busy doing that one right now. So it's giving you an education. That's what it's doing. It's giving you information. So you don't have to go skirting around on the, on the internet and finding all sorts of things from Mr. Google about all the sorts of things that confuse you more than help you. So use these as stepping stones. When you don't understand something, then yes, go and check it out. So we're going to give information now specifically on that group protein. And then what's coming next will be carbohydrates and fats. And so I'm super excited about this kind of concept, because this is an excellent education, and it's really, I think it's an answer to many people's questions, and people have asked me often, what sort of courses can I do? And I think this is definitely a good stepping stone for all of us. Yeah, so I think that we're empowering you, we're enabling you. I think that we can, as was mentioned before, let's become better versions of ourselves. I think that NEOLIFE University is certainly going to do that. Yeah, and I think that 2021 is getting off with a good bang from a NEOLIFE point of view, and I think it's going to help all of us, live a life of purpose, which I think is why many of us do what we do, and help others to do that as well, and to realize their dreams and their health potential. So I wish you all the best, and I will see you I'll actually see you at the kickoff meetings, and of course in February with a new product. So hope to see you soon.
Well, thank you very much, Liz. That was very informative.